So let me just say, my name is Carmen Ng, and I will be your facilitator for this session this morning. It will last for about an hour. So we are going from about 11 and until 12 p.m. And after that, we'll break for lunch. So the talk itself will last roughly 45 minutes, and there will be a Q&A session for the last 15 minutes of this session. If you would like to ask a question, please look down at your Zoom screen. You will see a Q&A button there, and that is where you can click and also type in your questions, which I will address and pose to the speaker later after their talk. Now, if you do wish to turn on your microphone and say out your question out loud or have a conversation with the speaker, that's perfectly fine too. So just raise your hand towards the end, of course, and I'll call on you, and then we can help you to turn on your microphone and you can speak. So that's basically the kind of logistics or the setup. Before the speaker takes over, let me tell you a little bit about who our speaker is. So you probably have seen some of the posters and know that our speaker for this next session will be speaking about something very Malaysian and very traditional, which is none other than wayang kulit or shadow puppetry. So our speaker, his name is Tintoy Chuo, and he is actually a character designer, illustrator, and also the founder of Action Tintoy Design Laboratory. So he and his partner, Teh Take Huat, they both together founded Fusion Wayang Kulit in 2012. And they have actually taken the world by storm because they've toured globally with their performances of Peperangan Bintang Wayang Kulit, or loosely translated Star Wars or Wayang Kulit Star Wars, right? Because they're using some motifs and some characters from Star Wars franchise. And they've not only toured the world, but they have given talks and also given seminars that have been featured on global media such as CNN, Wall Street Journal, BBC, Asahi Shimbun, and a whole lot of other media as well. So how did they actually kind of do this creative project of theirs, this fusion contemporary wayang kulit, is they have actually collaborated with their esteemed collaborator, who is himself a wayang kulit master, and that is Muhammad Dain Othman, also known as Pak Dain, and he's the 13th accredited Master Puppeteer in Malaysia, and also one of the very few Tok Dalangs who are still practicing the art of shadow puppetry in Kelantan today. So together with Pak Dain, basically the genius of Tintoy, together with his partner, Take Huat, they have fused together a kind of wayang kulit that combines pop culture with traditional art form, with a bit of science fiction icons such as those from Star Wars franchise. And of course, more recently, they've also brought in some superheroes, which you'll see later in his talk, and also some elements from Japanese Mecha. So today, Tintoy will be speaking on the topic of reviving the shadow puppet fusion wayang kulit. So if Tintoy is here, I'm not too sure. If Tintoy is here, he can take over now as the speaker.
Hi, I'm Tintoy here. I'm here, but I have a problem with my cam. So I'm unable to show the camera. I do not know why. So, but the slices and everything is here, and my voice is here. So hope you guys don't mind.
Okay, sure. Can you share are you able to show your slides at least?
Which is at start share screen. Yes, I supposed to be able to hold on.
It's okay, take your time.
Technologies. So
yeah, it happens.
When we do a test, everything was okay.
Oh yes, I can see your slides. Should be no problem now.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So
great.
In this case, I start my presentation now. Let me go to full screen first. Yeah, you're supposed to see a logo.
Yes, we can see it. Yep. Yeah, go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank all of you from Utah for having me. It's a very it's honor to be here, and I'm very glad to share what I've done with everyone. So I'll go through a few sections. First is introduction, So basically, Fusion Wayang Kulit was formed back in 2012, and by me and a good friend of mine, Teh Take Huat, who is a co-founder. And then when we do this, we actually work very closely with a master puppeteer, a real master puppeteer from Kelantan. His name is Pak Dain. So this is our approach. When we do it properly. And this is the team. So we have musician, we have a script writer, master craftsman, and all the proper so-called team that actually doing actual wayang kulit. And everything started back in 2012 when we are invited for an art exhibition. It's called Designers Weekend at Pabrika. And at that time, we were asked to do try something new. So my approach, I say, I haven't done something for our own country though. So maybe I can do something about Malaysian culture. So I look around. These are what the Malaysian culture have. I mean, Malaysia is a very rich country in terms of culture. There's so many stuff. And I look at it and say, okay, it's very interesting, but I can't do lion dance. I can't do, I don't like flower, and I can't do silat neither. So look at it. I say, hey, wayang kulit is suitable because I am a character designer. So when I look at each of the watak or puppet, it is a character. So it's easier for me to relate. So I said, okay, this will be my subject matter, and I pick it. And when I try to understand more about it, I find out that it is a fading art though. It's something so beautiful, but it's fading. So it's very sad. So I said, okay, what can we do to help? So I actually try to. I always like this guy. I learned a lot from this guy called. Is a CEO of the International Fruit Company. So he asked us. He have a phrase which I use a lot, which is think different. So this fruit company. I mean, I like this fruit company a lot, and especially the CEO. So think different is something that I feel that it actually helped me to actually do something in a very different way. I mean, think different. So for this, I take this code and say, okay, how do I do this? Maybe what I can do is, what if I can combine two totally different elements, something that's very traditional and very new, and into one project, and the result often is very unique. So there is a few good example out there, in terms of design, like for Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas is one of the very good example of what if we combine Christmas and Halloween. And he did it in the 80s, and it's still one of the very, very good concept, and it was well executed. So I mean, I personally recommend whoever interested, please go look out for Nightmare Before Christmas. And nobody have done that before, and the result is so outstanding. So I was thinking, okay, if I'm going to do this, what should I do? I'll take something very old like wayang kulit, and I need to add something very contrast and very futuristic. And I'm a big fan of Star Wars. So I say, okay, nobody have done it before, so it should be unique, and let's go. And the result is we created this called Peperangan Bintang, which translate to English is War of the Star. Bahasa, you have to speak the word first. So, and we start showing on actually 9 years ago. It's on end of July. So this is the project that we did. And a little bit information about wayang kulit or shadow puppet, just in case those who don't know. There are so many countries in the world have their own version of shadow puppet. Like for this, like Indonesia, Cambodia, Thailand, India. Most of it wayang kulit from India, and China, Turkey, and even Greece. So it's been spread out to so many different countries, and each country have their own style. I mean, one of the most commonly asked question is they confused with our style with the Japanese one. So here's the comparison. The Malaysian version, the puppet is more solid, the proportion is more correct, and then the inner arm the inside arm will be holding a tool, whether it's a it's a soldier, he's holding a weapon. If it's a farmer, he's holding a farming tool. If it's a princess, he'll be holding a fan. You know, so it represents what the person occupation or what is his or her status. And then he is actually standing on a dragon. This is very unique. And sorry, puppet color is visible during performance. You can see color. It's not only black and white. It's black and white because well, in the 17th and 80s, the camera that took photo, the ASA are quite slow. So while you have a little bit of color, you take everything is black and white. So it gives the impression that it's black and white. No, color is visible because with we use ink and marker to paint on the character. So it is the color is visible. So puppet design of our Peperangan Bintang project. So in case you don't know, so the one on the left is Darth Vader. So no Star Wars fans. He's the bad guy. Okay. So what we did was we take the baddest guy in the Star Wars and we combine with the baddest guy in the traditional story, which is Maharaja Ravana. So both are evil lord, and then we combine, and what we got is Darth Vader inspired puppet, and we call him Sangkala Vede. Sangkala means a very powerful general. Vede is basically a Kelantan slang of what do you call that? A Veda. So Vede. So Sangkala Vede. We put in a lot of thoughts into designing it in, because when you look at the one on the left is the reference. So when you talk about reference of Darth Vader, it's very mechanical. There's nothing traditional about it. So when we design, we add like some evil eyes, long teeth, this kind of so-called more organic element into the puppet. So the result is it looks more traditional, or it's a mixture of half is traditional but yet modern. Because if you just cut everything straight, then there's no point. That there's no so-called shadow puppet element inside that. It's just basically a paper cutout. So we put in a lot of effort in all these things, and you can show in the next few slides that we have that. And the leg, the Malaysian puppet, the main character will be standing on the naga or dragon. There is no dragon in Star Wars. I mean, we don't talk about the Mandalorian already show, but generally by the time we were doing it, it wasn't very clear. So we said, okay, we have to show this unique element, but we don't have dragon. So we actually decide to pick the vehicle of the character that is traveling with, and we apply that. So for Vader will be Star Destroyer, and then we actually convert it into something like this with Malay motif and with Minangkabau roof, Rumah Melayu on it to make it very traditional. So this is our take. So we go to the good guy. So we take the main character, hero for Star Wars, which is Luke Skywalker, and then we combine with Sirama, which is the main character for the traditional story. And then we got it, and we call him Perantau Langit. So Perantau Langit means someone who walks in the sky. So as you can see, he's on his Tatooine dress and the hand posture, and he's holding the inner arm is holding his main tools, which is a laser sword. So we discovered something very interesting about the traditional puppet Sirama. At the knee, there has two little, what do you call it, feather at the knee. I say this is a very important element, and we apply it into our what do you call that, puppet, and we apply the same thing, because we feel if the character has feather at the knee, maybe he can walk in the sky. So that's how we got it, Skywalker. So thanks God, we found the element so suitable for our this puppet. And then we are very happy that Mark Hamill, which is the actor for Luke Skywalker, actually love our puppet. When we posted on Twitter 2 years ago. So carry on, we have this princess, the late Princess Leia. So we have the main female lead, which is Sita Devi in this. So, and we call him Tuan Putri Lia. Tuan Putri just basically princess lah, and he's holding a fan with the signature hairstyle, yeah, and the baju Melayu. Then we have Stormtrooper. So we have a little bit issue about what to do because there's no character for us to combine, no white color villain. There is white color character is called Hanuman, who is a good guy, but there is none in the villain. So what we do is that, okay, with the blessing for the Master Puppeteer, say, okay, we find something which is white but is evil, and we combine. So we found this, which is white and then evil, to many, but not to the medical teams, they don't find evil. But anyway, generally it means evil, so that we combine him and we call him Hulu Balang Empire. Hulu Balang means soldiers, so Empire soldier. So you can see it's made of bone, and the jaw, we have this skull-like helmet. So that's our take. Yeah. So the reference is too technical. So we add skull, and then we have these evil eyes and teeth. So next will be C3PO, which is the talkative droid. Talk a lot, no action, timid. We happen to have a character with a similar characteristic. It's called Wat Long. Wat Long is a very talkative character and timid. So I say, hey, this is a good example. So we combine, and we call him CP Long, like C3PO Wat Long, so CP Long. So the design, it might sound a bit odd to some because you have long nose, you have big tummy, because long nose and big tummy is the signature element for Wat Long. So we actually port it over to this timid C3PO, and well, I think it looks very suitable. It looks a bit odd, but it's suitable. So if you're a Star Wars fan, you will know that the right leg of C3PO is silver. So we paint our puppet, the right leg is silver, because I'm a member of this official Star Wars Mecha fan club. They are very technical. So I learned it a lot, and so when I do all these things, I make sure that it's technically correct. Okay, the hardest character for the Star Wars project will be this droid. It's called R2D2. Why is hard? Because number one, it have 3 legs. Number two, it doesn't have neck, and stuff like that. So it's very difficult. So again, after bugging the Master Puppeteer for a while, he said that, okay, you guys should go out and look for something to do. So with his blessing again, so we said, okay, since we're going to have no human character, let's look for no human element. And I love this building a lot. Near KL, Dataran Merdeka. It's a very signature building for Malaysia. So I said, okay, I like it, so let's do something about it. And there you go. We combine this no human character with a no human element, which is a building, and we call it R2. So as you can see, the first arrow on the top is actually like a shape of a mouse, and then we have the door, then we have the window and the arch. So literally it's very Malaysian, but it's R2 as well. So again, if you are Star fan, you know that he have a small little arm that we expand to actually take something from Princess Leia. So our puppet, we actually make a mini hand, for him. So we did a few other puppet as well for Star Wars. So this is Mandalorian, maybe the TV series. I love it a lot, and I created it. And we actually been featured in the official Star Wars YouTube channel, and the host is actually Jordan Hasbro. He's a toy hunt. He's famous as toy hunter, and he loves our puppet. We are so glad. So performance. So we are very fortunate to perform in a few places. That even in this iconic place under Kaki Seni. So and then we perform in Singapore as well. So some of the Star Wars fans, the 501st garrisons from Singapore, they came in costume. So to a traditional cultural theater, so it's very it's a very interesting thing. This one in Bangkok 2 years ago. The fan there also came as themselves, and then we performed in German, yeah, and a few places. So I'd like to show you a short preview about our performance. And it is based on, in case you need to know, it's based on episode 4, A New Hope. This is the first time that Star Wars been shown to us back in 1977. So, well, when we do this, we, as a form, I mean, homage to it. So I like to show it, make the story based on 1977, A New Hope. So can you play the video, please?
Yes, on the way.
Yeah.
Dapat membunuh semua ini askar-askar pemberontak yang tertinggal cuma kapten. Apabila kapten askar pemberontak tertangkap, siapa yang melihat sang dalam maka terlihat ini kapten sudah tertangkap, maka dia datangi hadapan kapten askar pemberontak. Kami tidak tahu apa yang kau cakap tentang plan yang kau kehendaki.
Mr. Tintoy, you will need to share your screen again. Thank you.
You're muted, Tintoy. I think you need to turn on your microphone again.
Mute.
Yes, can hear you now.
Yeah. All right. So basically, what are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Full screen, okay.
Yes.
Okay. So we've been asked, are we just doing Star Wars only? Are we the Star Wars boys? So we are not actually. We do more than just Star Wars. And for this, in this case, let me show you some others like Wayang Kulit plus superheroes. And we are invited by the one of the agencies to promote the Penang government, Penang tourism back in 201, I think 2014. So they have this DC superheroes marathons, so that everything is that DC superhero or Justice League. So they say, hey, we want something about Malaysian culture there. So I said, hey, we can create few. So we created a few, 5 Justice League superheroes there. So this will be Man of Steel, Dark Knight, and then we also been invited. I think 2 years ago, there was in Genting, when there's this Batman was actually having 80 anniversaries. So we are invited to create a few different version of Batman puppet to be exhibited in Genting. And then we did Joker, and for a performance in China, we are invited to participate in this Mu Ou Zhong Dong Yan. That means is a puppet competition in Guangzhou. So we created this story and we performed there. And then, yeah, this is Wonder Woman in the golden armor. Flash, Aquaman, and then this Steppenwolf, the main enemy for the Zionist cut version. So these are the few DC superheroes that we created. Again, we put in a lot of effort. I try to make it looks like who he is, and it looks like Wayang Kulit. So there's a lot of effort that our team really put inside. Yeah. And we created some Marvel superhero as well. So this is what do you call that? Iron Man. So for the Avengers 4, and if you see one of video in our page, that you notice that the mask can open. So if you pull a string, then the mask can open. And then Thanos, and then the stone. Actually, if you have a light at the back, all the stone actually grow. So these are the thing we try to put in to make the puppet more interesting. And then, yeah, we did some Japanese Mecha also when we were invited to participate in VAX. So it's more towards anime, which is the Japanese anime. So with that, we created a few. And so this is Zaku. If you follow Gundam, you know that this is the red Zaku, red comet, sorry. So we call it Zaku red comet merah. So it's red comet Zaku. I like the name. Zaku is Zaku, Kulit is Kulit. So we put together, it's called Zakulit. So I like this name a lot. And then Evangelion. So Eva 1, so those who are familiar, and he's holding a small knife. So we actually turned it into a crease. And then Robotech, or some know it as Macross. So it's a transformable, what do you call that, robot from plane, actually 3-mood plane, gearwalk and robot. And we actually did make the puppet which is transformable. So it is the first ever transformable puppet, wayang kulit puppet in the world. Last year there was a anniversary, so we created our own Malaysian version Ultraman, which is called Ultraman Reboot, and we turned it into wayang kulit. And this year is the 50th anniversary of Kamen Rider, my childhood heroes. So we create the number one, Ichigo, into the puppet. And then not long ago, I'm if you guys follow, I mean, next week have a new series. This is He-Man. I mean, I love He-Man. I still have the toy, so I say, hey, might as well just create this, because I love the character a lot. And so we created the He-Man and the Skeletor. He-Man, we call it Perkasa, which is someone who is strong and mighty, and with a dash, just like He-Man. And Tengkorak is basically skull, but we changed the alphabet, the last alphabet, to R, so similar to Skeletor. And this thing was featured in Mattel's Instagram during the launch. So for game, I'm sure a lot of people know about Overwatch. So there's this the voice actor for Lucia was here a few years ago. So I talked to we planned something with the organizers who will create a puppet of him, his character Lucia, and give it to him. And he Johnny really loved it. And Predator, we did this Predator in conjunction of the movie launch a few years back. So the story will be Predator go into like insert story fighting with Hanuman in a short story. So we performed in a few places in Malaysia and to promote the movie. And then we did the Upin and Ipin character, and under this the dinosaur story in their carnival a few years back, and the kids love it. The kids will just come and stick their face onto the screen, like they stick their face. So someone have to ask them to go, because people at the back cannot see. So Ed Sheeran. So Ed Sheeran, Warner's Music Malaysia actually did something to promote the music Happier. So they're actually making a localized music video. So he invited us to make the transform Ed Sheeran into a puppet. So it was used in this music video called Happier with wayang kulit. And the thing is, he was here in Shah Alam 2 years ago. So the Warner's Music managed to give the puppet to him, and there's a video. We can look at his reaction. There's a can you play the video, please?
Yes.
Try to stop share.
Your video, your video actually has a what do you call it? Had a Muppet, right? So this is the Malaysian version.
It's probably the most unique thing we've definitely ever been given.
Cool.
So because the Muppet version, it's not really Malaysian, so this was the Asian version.
That's so cool. So this is all Malaysian.
Yeah. So the designer, he found, like, if you see like your tattoo, your necklace, he's like, oh, it's from this.
This is the most original one.
You're just one.
So
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So you can just glue it back, and that's it. So this one, we actually manage a gold single for you.
Thank you so much.
So ship it back, and then
That's thank you so much.
do you want to take some photos?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
No problem.
All right, so I need to share screen back, right?
Yes, please.
Sure, hold on. All right. So unfortunately, I cannot be there. The only selected people from Warner's Music can be there. So it's but it's okay lah. My puppet be there, and we are glad he liked it. All right. So and BBC Two UK actually did a road show in Southeast Asia. They came from Thailand, I think Cambodia, Thailand, Malaysia, and Sarawak, I think. So when they come to Malaysia, they want to go to a few places. So they found us. So they asked us to make two puppets of this Dara and Ed, which are famous comedian in BBC show as themselves. So when they came to Kelantan, So they will actually visit a few places and visit my master place, and we'll be giving this puppet, and they perform as themselves in one of the halls. So it was quite interesting. So Bruce Lee, we did it during what do you call it? Bruce Lee 75 anniversary in Penang for exhibition. And then this is under Zarura. Zarura is a very famous fashion brand in Malaysia. So in 2019, when they have their Raya campaign, Zarura Raya, so they asked us to make a few puppet of their famous designer and for the campaign. So it is very interesting to see them, like Tong Abang in the center. We make him into puppet. And then this is Mandarin Oriental. So we are very honored to be invited by Royal Selangor when they're actually doing this signature fan for Mandarin Oriental. So they have a few layers. So one of the layers, they say we want us to actually create the traditional puppet into it to actually give it a more Malaysian theme. So we are very, very happy to be involved. By the way, this thing is pure, the back piece is gold. So it's very, very nice. And then Warner's Bros Malaysia get us to design this Hari Raya pack, Sampuraya for the X-Men movie, Dark Phoenix. So we did like an X, we put four different packs together. It looks, the background is like a big X to signify X-Men. So yeah, so what we have achieved so far, I mean, one of the biggest one will be featured in CNN. One of CNN channel is called Great Big Story. So we are featured there. And then last year also, someone from Lucasfilm contacted us to feature us in one of the official Star Wars channel, which is our Star Wars story. So they feature it. Is very, if you feel honor that we've been recognized in this way. And then some of the newspapers also, like Wall Street Journal, Asahi Shimbun in Japan. And then we give a talk in Tech X as well. And then in 2016 and under Merdeka Tamat Challenge, so we are very honored to present our work to the Sultan Perak. So I'm glad and they like it. So we have our gallery in KL, but I mean currently MCO lah, so is so-called closed temporarily. But our HQ is under my master Pak Dain is in Kelantan. We form a branch or so-called a gallery here in GMBB Mall KL, where we get to actually showcase our puppet, the fusion type and the traditional type there. And then we actually conducting puppet making workshop, and we actually have this actual set then where we train people who is interested to learn the art of dalang, so we actually have that. The objective is definitely trying to expand, the wayang kulit to more people, so it's easier for people to access. At least we have a branch here. Yeah. So the conclusion is, I mean, our objective it is to revive this beautiful but fading art, fading Malaysian culture, by actually fusing it with science fiction element. It's been a while, and we are still doing it, and because we think that there's still a long way to go. So yeah, that's it for my presentation. We come to Q&A.
Okay, thank you very much, Tintoy, for sharing all that. I think you got a lot of new fans now among the audience.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Let me just maybe combine. There are some similar questions, so I'll combine some of the questions and I'll pose them to you. So we have two questions quite similar. One is from Aloysius and the other one is from Andrew. And they are basically asking, do you face any challenges among the traditionalists, right? Do you face challenges to convince traditional wayang kulit practitioners or masters to accept this fusion, especially using kind of like Western Star Wars stories, Batman, things like that? And a similar question from Andrew also is, are there people who disagree that you use sort of modern elements? Do they see it as sort of breaking the tradition of wayang kulit or not respecting the tradition? So maybe those questions you can answer first. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Well, the only people I want to convince is the master that I want to work with. So, and I'm very, very lucky because Pak Dain is a very, what do you call that, very open-minded master. He is very knowledgeable because he's a 13th generation master puppeteer. And when I meet him back in 2012, we have a quick chat. So he asked me a few questions, what I want to do, things like that. I say, I have a dream. I want someone to perform Star Wars live, Then he said, okay, if you say like this, that is correct. That is a real wayang kulit show. A real wayang kulit performance need 5 layers: the screen, the puppet, the light, the master puppeteer, and musician. So if you have that, that is considered a real wayang kulit performer, and he's happy, So from there we become friends and we talk to him. It takes a while, to tell him what I want to do. Can we do this or not? And as I say, he is open-minded. He's looking for new way to actually to get more youth to be interested. And my project attract a lot of youth, So say in this case, ngam lah. Our thing is very ngam. So we join together to form this team, and we start doing it. Doing it is, since he's already agree with what my concept is, I decide to do everything properly, following the principle of wayang kulit. It is harder, actually. I tell you a secret. It's much harder because sometimes when we do it ourselves, hey, I got this idea and I just do it. But no, all the project, all the puppet, all the step, whatever, is actually I have to show it to him. He approved, then only we do. Because as I say, we want to do it properly. Because luckily we do that because we were actually asked to meet a professor who is very well versed in this, and he asked us something about why are we doing it, So luckily that we do it the proper way, so we are okay. So that is on one side, which is my the master puppeteer that I want to work with lah. And about the people who I don't work with, who just look at it, yes, we do receive some so-called not too positive feedback in the beginning of our project, maybe the first 2 years. So they will say like, we are destroying the art, why are you doing this, and there are one or two a bit more, much more negative, like I do not want to bring up. But generally, they say things like that. So I actually bring this up and talk to my master puppeteer. So we conclude that those people who voice out are those people who care for the art. Or we take at this. So we invite them to come to our performance and watch how we do it. Because sometimes, in social media, you see 1-2 picture, you see 10 seconds, you might get it wrong, The famous like Charles Prince, the finger angle, from the left you see one, from the front you see one. So it's best. So we invite them to come and have a look, and then to tell them more. So that will happen in the first 2 years lah, in our what do you call it? Then now is far more less, and the positive review feedback we got, it could be like maybe 20 or 30 times more than the negative feedback we got. So we are very honored.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning it. I think that's a really great way to approach people who might be critical, that you say that because they're critical means they care and they're really invested in the art form, right? So I think that approach actually helps us to see them in a different way, and not just think they're anti what you're trying to do, but maybe they don't understand enough, and as you say, they don't have enough sort of actual exposure. Since you're right, a lot of social media tends to be just a few seconds, and a lot of people say things and you don't really know what it's really like yourself. So thank you for sharing that. I think that's a really nice kind of approach, especially those of you yourself and others who are trying to bring traditional arts into a kind of contemporary culture that we are in now. And I think sometimes it's difficult, right, for the traditionalists.
Let me tell you something. When we about to launch the puppet back in 2012, for first time, I was worried actually. We are excited to making whatever. When we put it up, it's like, well, tomorrow people will come and throw us rotten egg, things like that. So we were a bit worried at that night. We committed already. We have to do. We can't pull back. So I put it up, and I'm very glad that the response is good. And then within a very short period of time, though, and then this Mr. Michael from the Star, he came and interviewed us, and we actually put it out. The first interview, and then from there it actually generated a lot of good feedback. So thanks him for that.
Okay, thanks, Tintoy. Let's move on. I think there are quite a lot of questions about the actual making of the puppet. So we have one student, this is my student, Yang Kai Ting, saying, how long does it usually take to make the puppet? And then there's another student also, Tan Chiani, asking, what is the progress? Like, how do you actually make the actual puppet itself? And also another comment from Hui saying, what do you use to make it? Is it like some kind of blade? What's the material? So maybe you can address those questions about the making of that actual puppet.
Sure. Okay, if you may, I'll share screen on that particular slice that I have. Okay, this one. Okay, so you can see on how we make is basically we take the material is cowhide, kulit lembu. So they take it and they pull it very tight to make it flat, and they remove the hair and dry it for 3 days to make sure that it's fully dry and fully hard. And then for that, we actually, you can look at my picture, the second item where they put they print or draw a drawing and use glue to stick on it. Then from there we use hammer and nail, which is the third one, hammer and nail, and punch or knock all the holes onto the height. So one, if they're using hammer, is one hit one hole. It's very simple. Then we have moon like croissant shape. Then we have different type of, what do you call that, nail, special nail. Some is curved, some is straight, some is bend, and we hit combination of the different tools to get out the motif. So the fourth puppet is done. So we remove the paper. Okay, then the fifth one, we actually color with ink on the top and the bottom marker. These are the marker that we use to color. So we color it, finish. Then we add the bamboo stick, kayu pengepek in the center and the hand, and then voila, we are done. So that's the process. It take about maybe about 2 weeks, 1 week plus to finish. The knocking is about 3 days because the puppet we are talking about, the actual size is 2 feet. So it's quite a lot of knocking, depending on character. So, but for me, let's say if you want to design a new one, that take a few days to design and approval by Pak Dain, Master Puppeteer, so, and coloring, it take about 2 weeks.
Wow. Do you do this entirely yourself, or do you have like a team that will make the puppets with you?
Oh, definitely. The knocking or the cutting part will be done by Master Craftsman in Kelantan.
Oh, I see. So you're mostly doing the design aspect of it now.
Design and then coloring as well.
Oh,
because,
okay.
Coloring, it's quite tricky. Because Photoshop, click, select all, paste, add all. Suka, you change. That one, no undo though.
Yes, correct.
Each of them, and you have to paint 2 sides, front and back.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Have you guys tried to like maybe simplify the process? Because from the process I see, I've watched documentaries. It looks quite authentic, like similar to how they did it, like hundreds of years ago.
Yes.
What are maybe the main areas where you all tried to maybe simplify or shorten the process, if at all?
I do not plan to simplify it.
Oh, okay.
The reason is, if you simplify it in the way, let's say put it less motif, less detail, whatever, then it's not nostalgic.
True.
It lost the thing already. We do have a so-called make your own, where we teach kids, like, okay, the smaller version, we do organize workshop. So, okay, we prepare the height, we prepare the hammer, nail. So kids will come and make this a smaller size. We call it mini size, which is about 9 inch, It can be done in 3 hours, something like that. So
easier,
we do
yeah.
But the hard part, the master, the craftsman cut a bit already.
I see.
You do the easy part, coloring, all this stuff, and simple knocking.
may I know also, I mean, someone also asked about the budget. I mean, is it very expensive to make one of these puppets? The materials and maybe the workmanship as well?
It's very hard to judge our workmanship. I mean, like, they take years to master this. So, I mean, with a puppet, I mean, let's say for sale, you know, it's from a few hundred to few thousand, depending on the size, depending on the complexity.
I see.
Yeah.
There is a question from Victor Lee. He says, have you guys ever made a wayang kulit puppet based on a politician or political figure?
Yes, we make Tun M. I make Tun M
okay.
when he was the 7th, what do you call it, Prime Minister. So he slammed dunk twice. So to us is very significant. So we make one puppet, but we don't want to perform any political related performance. It's not going to do us any good. So
yes, true.
Yeah, no point.
Okay, then there's also a question about how you combine elements in your design. Because I remember earlier in your presentation, you showed like different parts, like using the feather, using the, Millennium Falcon, things like that. So the question is from Xiying. She says, I'm really amazed at your powers of association and creativity. Do you have any tips or tricks you can pass on to those who lack such powers? You know, how do you make that kind of association? Is it purely from imagination, or, you know, is there something that helps you to sort of think what element could be used for this, as you were sharing earlier?
Okay, to be frank, sometimes it depends on luck one.
Okay.
Hey, I happen to see, you know, hey, got this feather, like, hey, suitable. If the feather, the character with feather happen to be in Darth Vader, I can't use it, you know. So in luck. And okay, I'm sharing this screen here. You can see it's called Identity of Malaysian Wayang Kulit, right? So we have to understand what the traditional puppet is. Like, this is the Malaysian puppet. You can see the red part is the thing that he's holding. So I can, from there I know, sometimes he hold it up, sometimes he hold it down. Then the green part is the so-called standing on the dragon, you know, or creature, you know. So we know, okay, that's how it is, you know. And then the blue part is that they're always connecting together so that the puppet becomes stronger. Let's say if you have, let's say on the first character, bow and arrow, if it's so far away, it's not connected to the earpiece, it becomes tangling. You have many things extruded. So when you perform, they'll swing left and right, whatever. So it might actually disturb the performer. It might get tangled together with another puppet, you know. So they join. So these are so-called the information that I look at it and I try to learn. And that's why it take a bit longer, about 2 weeks to make one, because I need to study this character. Who is this character? What does he do? Is that something that I can use in the modern sense to replace it? Or is that something I can use in the traditional? Let's say for there was a character in DC superhero, Green Lantern. I actually have him holding a lantern. You know? The lantern is those kampong pakcik, you know, the holding. So I try to find, you know. So that's where what do you call it? The creative process. It take a bit longer sometimes. Sometimes we just hit the jackpot straight away, like the feather leg, like, oh my god, thank you, you know. But sometimes some is hard to think, like, what should I do? But generally the character which is very more simple is harder to do, because they're not. Yes,
I see.
Because let's say like Bruce Lee. Okay, the version that we use is the one in the what's the Enter the Dragon, right? So he didn't wear any shirt and he only wear pure black pants. So we have nothing to play with, you know.
True. Yes, true.
If the character is complicated, like he hold a lot of things, I say, oh, lovely. We can just put it on the left hand, put it on the belt, put it on this and that. So that's how we do.
Nice. That's really interesting. I guess that's why the Darth Vader seems like very rich, because Darth Vader's even though he's mechanical, or, you know, he looks quite metallic, but he has a lot of different visual elements compared to maybe Luke Skywalker, a lot more simpler, I guess, his outfit as well. Cool. That's very nice. Thanks. There is a very interesting question here from Lu Chingman, where basically she's asking that mostly we think of the actual shadow puppets themselves are believed to have some kind of like spiritual power, right? They're seen to be quite sacred, and the Dalang manipulates them and sort of channel some of this spirituality. So I guess I'm modifying the question a bit, because the question is like, how does modern day wayang kulit deal with this spiritual element, or is that spiritual element kind of lost now in this modern reinterpretation?
Okay, I think maybe the traditional one they might have, but to us, the fusion type, there is none. I mean, unless you are in New Zealand where the force is a religion, But other than that, here we just take it, and that's one of the sensitive part that people will actually say this and that, Part of the reason is they want to actually make it the puppet to be respect. Like say, don't put the puppet on the floor and walk and step over, So they try to actually make it like, okay, take care of this kind of thing, So, but for our fusion type, no. There is no spiritual whatsoever, So it's very, very clean, though, in a way.
Okay, I see. There's also another interesting question about festivals, right? So this is from Ng Meng Hui, who says, usually when we think about certain types of art, cultural performances, let's say like lion dance, we always associate with like Chinese New Year. So is there some kind of festival that's typically associated with wayang kulit?
Hari Raya, lor.
Hari Raya, okay.
Hari Raya.
So, I mean, for you guys, I think when you all are performing, it doesn't matter, right? What festival, you're just doing it as kind of whenever there's an occasion or opportunity, I'm guessing.
Yeah, anyway, I mean, but we get to, there are two festivals that we get a lot, which is Hari Raya and Star Wars Day.
Oh, right, that's right.
So on May, we are sometimes quite busy that people want to see,
Okay.
But of course, we did a Christmas Santa Claus and snowman puppet before. So we want to do that, to tell people that it's okay, And we performed, there's a group of tourists that came during Christmas. So we happened to make that, we perform, like Santa Claus going away, he asked snowman to take care, so funny things happen, things like that. So there shouldn't be limit. You must think that wayang kulit, for us, what we're doing is an art form. It's nothing. It's not nothing to do with culture or so. I mean, it does culture, but it's nothing to do with religion or races. It's a form of a cultural art, but it's the art form that we are looking at.
Okay, so I think we are almost done, but maybe I'll just take time for two more questions, which is very simple. One question is, are you guys looking for interns? Because I think some students interested to do internship with you. And another question is also, what will be your next target for, other puppet ideas from which genre or maybe which famous character? So those two questions to end, Yeah.
Well, intern, yes, you can contact us. We can arrange something, but I'm telling you, it's not. You got to be prepared for looking at a few hundred dots, at one screen. That kind of. If you are keen on, definitely we are looking,
Cool.
You can go check out our, Facebook, same name, Fusion Wayang Kulit, or maybe you can post up the link later.
Sure.
And then we are actually preparing a few things, the new project that we are doing. But since now there's quite uncertain, so they are not out yet,
Okay.
So there are a lot of things that actually we're talking all KIV,
Well, we look forward to it, because I know now MCO is a little bit difficult, but I'm sure there'll be a chance to do it after. So we wish you all the best, Tintoy. Thank you for your sharing and also all your very great pictures and images that you showed. Thank you very much for your talk, and to all the participants and people who asked questions and comments. A very enlightening and useful presentation. So thank you again, and thanks everyone for attending. And now I'll pass it over to Claire. I think, Claire, are you going to say something about lunch or no? Okay, if none, then I guess we are going to break for lunch for an hour. Am I right?
We need to be back by 2 o'clock for the next
2 o'clock. Okay.
Yes.
So
is it 2?
Well, 1 o'clock on the.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, 1.
Yeah, sorry, my mistake.
Okay, so we'll meet all of you back here at 1 and have a very nice lunch and enjoy the rest of the talks later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.